All right, I'm gonna cover in this video my chart setup for the NASDAQ, and I believe this setup has value on other markets like the S&P, potentially the Dow, and oil, gold, and more, but I'm just gonna show some NASDAQ charts today. So in this chart, we have two indicators that I'm releasing to you guys. That is the moving average trend indicator and the best ATR indicator. And so first of all, we're going to look over the moving averages trend indicator and show you guys how you can use this to plot moving averages. So the theory here is that moving averages have a lot of power as not only for determining the trend, but also for determining support and resistance and areas to buy and sell. And you can even see here how on the NASDAQ, the 20 EMA and the 50 EMA have been important as we continue to trend higher throughout lunchtime in the afternoon. So I'm just going to go over the settings in here so that you guys know how to use this. In here we have a best MA, which is a single moving average, and then best MA's trend, which is two moving averages with area filled in between. On this chart, you can see I've got a 200 EMA. You can select between EMA and SMA here. And in the multi-time frame box, you can check that to configure a higher time frame. So here I've got, you can see on here I'm selecting this. I've got the 200 EMA based on the 5-minute chart. And there's some color settings here as well. And then moving down the list, I'm using the best MA's trend to plot the 20 and 50. So again, you can select EMA and SMA in this indicator, as well as choosing the fast and the slow period for those two moving averages. And some basic inputs here for the style. And then here I've also got a 5-minute, which is selected here. Bar type 5-minute, 20 and 50 EMA. It's pretty straightforward, but the power of this is not having to add a secondary data series to your chart. So a lot of people, or not a lot, but some people use this in their chart. They go into data series and they add the secondary data series here, and then you can add the moving average separately on that secondary data series, make the data series transparent. There's a whole process to do that. But this minimizes the steps involved in that and increases the efficiency in the plotting. This plotting is actually much more accurate because it's showing you when the bar closed, when the 5-minute bar closed here, you can see this jump. And then with each bar, you're basically seeing literally intra-bar what the 5-minute EMA was doing. And you will not see that by configuring a secondary data series in the chart window. You will not see that detail. So I think this best MA's indicator and the best MA's trend indicator have a ton of value as far as being able to plot EMA's and SMA's multi-time frame on your chart window. And so a few more examples of that. If I move to this Renko chart, you can see here I've got the 1-minute and the 5-minute on a Renko. And so again, I can use the Renko to enter trades, potentially with the reversal bar or another technique, while still having my moving averages in the chart. So I can see the 1 minute that's happening as it bursted up through here. Renko pulls back to the 20 and then off to the races. Here I could be entering on a reversal bar, would take some heat, reversal bar here. So just a few examples here. I'm not going to go through trade setups specifically, but just going over how these indicators work today. And then the other indicator that I finished that I want to cover in here, back to this original chart, is the best ATR indicator. So this indicator, again, only the first version, you guys. I do expect to add more features into here. And I'm sure that there's going to be some different things to work out with this. While these seem simple, it's complicated to do multi-time frame with different moving average types, etc. So this ATR indicator actually allows you to select the period. You can also select between points or ticks for display. And then in the same way here, we have the multi-time frame capability. And then lastly, we've got last week enabled. So the first thing I'll do is I'll cover that feature. And we're getting a big sell-off here. Last week enabled is going to show last week's ATR. So you can see this dashed line is actually last Monday's ATR. So today's May 8th, it would be May 1st ATR. And again, continuing to add features here, but what I think has value is comparing this to last Monday and saying, when can we expect potentially an expansion in the range, right? So if you look throughout here, you can start to see some interesting patterns when you do compare last week to today. Even the spike here at 10 o'clock, right? We get a spike after 10 o'clock. We got that last week. We also got that same thing today. Here we started declining last week, started declining today. So I'm not going to go through a lot of these, but this is the idea of this. If I go to the hard right edge, you can see I finished something really cool, which is the future plotting. So if you scroll forward, there's some future plotting. So you can actually see last Monday's ATR well into the future to potentially plan out when you can expect a range to tighten or expand on this. And so more features coming here, but this is what I have so far. Also going to click to this next chart window, which is going to show us that we can plot a 5-minute ATR on a 1-minute chart now. As you can see, this is an ATR 14 based on the 5-minute. We compare that to the actual 5-minute, and you can see the values are lining up. It's actually kind of hard to see both, but they are the same. If you look at the 1-minute here and the 5-minute here on a real 5-minute chart, we have the calculations compared to on a 1-minute chart where we're running a secondary data feed 5-minute. So this ATR indicator is powerful. And then lastly, back to the Renko chart, we can see here I'm plotting a 1-minute ATR on the Renko. And again, for me, this is important. Probably wouldn't plot it down here. I would use it in the chart trader, but it's important because I am determining my stop loss and my target size based on the ATR. So as I make trades, I need to see the ATR, maybe not here, but in the chart trader I will, so that I can adequately plan, say like 2 times this value for my target. Let's go ahead and compare this. So here we are, 7.10. Again, Renko perfectly in step. So what we have here is a 1-minute ATR in the Renko, perfectly in step with the ATR in the 1-minute chart. So, and you can actually see here intra-bar how the ATR was rising. It's not just going to plot it like you would see if you would add a secondary data series to this chart. Instead, you're getting an intra-bar view of what the ATR was doing on this 207 bar, when during this 207 bar it was rising big time, right? Here it's rising big time, but this is intra-bar 207. You can see as it makes a new low, the value starts to change, right? Value freezes, makes a new low, value starts to go up. So this big down bar is rising our ATR. And so that's all I'm going to cover in this video. Brief overview of these indicators. I hope you love them. Again, best MAs trend, and best ATR available for purchase on my website. I'll cover what else I'm using in here, which is the standard order flow VWAP indicator, and I set standard deviation bands to none. This is my key levels indicator, which I cover in a different video. And then this is an indicator I'm working on that's not available yet to improve the visuals of a chart window with some bar color, with some scaling and some labeling. Again, that's not available yet, but will be soon. If you want to look at the key levels chart, what you can do, if you want to look at key levels, you can see a separate video. But you can see how yesterday's close, as usual, always has a big impact on what's happening. From the moment it opened this morning, you had yesterday's close and the VWAP here. Again, was an area that it had to break and retest right here before it's continued up. Now, here we are just busting through everything. This is one of those trades where you just hop in at market, it seems, but again, still learning how to trade myself. I think it's a continual learning process, but grateful to get to serve you guys with these indicators, and yeah, just reach out if you have any questions. Thanks, you guys.